Welcome to this episode of Back to the Story, where friends come together to play Dungeons and Dragons. I'll be your DM, Klaus. Let's get started.
When you see God's rest surrounded by armies, then know that his desolation has come near.
It is my destiny, not yours.
Really, it doesn't fucking matter if I'm ready or not. I have to deal with the end of the world, and I'm not ready for that.
The reason why any of us are enough for anything is because we have each other.
Everyone can change, not everyone will, but everyone can.
And every day has been beautiful since.
For these are the days of vengeance, to fulfill all that is written.
Yes, I know we all want to compare our god's dick sizes right now.
My glory is to protect. My virtue is sacrifice.
My curiosity is satisfied.
For your sins, I will allow you to seek the knowledge.
Have the courage to do what's right and not what's written.
And God's rest will be trampled underfoot by the heretics until the times of the harbingers are fulfilled.
We've gotten through this before. We can do it again.
You got this.
One more time.
Take a look. It's in a book. The visuals look better.
Reading Rainbow!
We'll just turn it off then.
Yeah, there's no costumes on Sunday anyway.
Yeah.
We're not LARPing.
As the bronze scales escape Blackstar and arrive in Nymunet, they find the army of Queen Isadella, Warchild Wolthrath, camped outside the gates with 15 to 25,000 soldiers. After pushing past the vanguards and through the killing corridor, the scales entered the city proper around midnight. Finding a nice suite to stay for the night, Felix hurried to close all the windows and lock the doors to prevent the Raven from watching too close, and after having a discussion, the scales set off to do research and to meet with Braun the next morning. We come back to the story here. You've met with Braun outside the city gates, and though negotiations broke down for the moment, you did learn that Hex was planning to attack the city, seeking an opal, a fragment of Osa. Braun also left Ezekiel's staff as an act of good faith before disappearing. Meanwhile, Felix, you purchased time in the reserve a portion, reading through books, manuals, and scrolls by the heatless blue fire of the scriptorium and underwatch of tome-bearers. You found some information on the eternal powers you seek before meeting and back up with the scales. So, you guys are in the city, and I think y'all are just deciding to split off and accomplish various goals. It's now in the winter, and the wind howls through the trees and through the city streets and alleyways, piling snow against the stones and upon the roofs. You see wolf-marked soldiers and knights of the gods patrolling the city in greater numbers than you've seen before. Pilgrims and believers alike go about their business, carrying firewood or bringing in wild game from beyond the walls. Daily life seemingly to carry on after the fracturing sky, but the city feels on edge. You don't see anyone without a holy symbol prominent around their neck. Maybe that'll be enough. What would you guys like to do?
We want to start with Amson and Vesper, because I think they have the most direction right now.
Amson and Vesper, do y'all want to go first?
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. And were y'all, so you're heading somewhere? Go ahead.
I was going to the Temple of Aiain.
And then I asked to join, and Vesper reluctantly said yes.
Okay. So do y'all chat on your way there or wait until you arrive?
That is up to you, because I think she's kind of single-minded right now.
Okay. Then Amson will... I have a feeling it'll probably be like an awkward silence for the first couple of minutes going towards the Temple of Aiain. I don't remember, did Vesper specifically say that she was going to the temple?
I think I did.
Okay. So in that case, Amson's first question after an... Actually, no. He after a few minutes of walking towards the temple, he'll finally, try to grab Vesper's hand.
Yeah, she'll let him take it.
And then shortly after that, he'll say, so, why exactly do you want to go to the temple? I imagine it's not just for, to pray.
I need to talk to Diether. Her wings are part of
right.
what we need.
Right.
I figure maybe if I go back to where she redeemed me, maybe I can have a better connection to her.
That makes sense.
I also wanted to see if I could meet with Braun again. He promised that if I gave him a blessing, he would give us some of our stuff back. And I just want the ring that Calvin gave me.
Okay. I'll be around however much you want me to be, so, if you want me to disappear for a little while, I can do that. I just didn't want you to go alone.
I always want you around. Maybe when I meet with him, it'd be best to stay invisible.
Yeah.
So he thinks at least it's just us.
Yeah, I can do that.
She'll squeeze his hand.
I'll squeeze back. Just want to watch out for you.
I know. I appreciate it.
Think you're going to be okay?
I think I have to be. So sure.
Well, just let me know if you're not, okay?
I will. And you tell me if you're not. I'll have to pretend.
I'll try.
I'm here for you.
Thank you. And Amson will give her a kiss on the cheek and they can keep going.
And as you'll continue to move through the streets, heading towards the zenith, this hill, you guys pass through more patrolling soldiers than you saw last time you were here for about a year, moving towards this hill. As you're heading up it, and you can start to see the temple in the background against the sky, its roof filling up with snow. You see in the sky the winged griffins flying across, sometimes landing on some of the towers or just pillars, large pillars throughout this district. And as you approach the outer gate surrounding the temple, it's not closed, but there are more guards here than you remember. You kind of slow down as they inspect you. Two of them on foot at the gate look up, and you see above the gate there's a large pillar upon which perched is a griffin, and upon the griffin is a gray-skinned with blue-black hair individual, alien-looking with silver golden eyes, that kind of stretches his hand out towards you, wearing a white skirt with a long recurved bow on his back. Closes his eyes, focusing for a moment, before looking down and nodding. The guards below let you through the gate. Seemingly this individual sensed and didn't sense anything nefarious before you head into the temple proper, up these large steps, and into the main hall itself.
On the way, are there any, griffin feathers that have fallen to the ground at all? Or...
yeah, you can make, maybe a survival check.
Okay. Well, that's a natural one, so 13.
There's this snow everywhere, and the wind is howling, so even if something fell, it would have quickly been covered with snow or just driven off in the wind. You don't see anything immediately. You can try again later.
Okay. I'll just head inside then.
Okay. You head up the snow-covered, winding steps up to this domed temple at the top. The doors are closed but not locked, and inside it's warm, and the sound of the howling wind is dulled in here. It's quiet, peaceful, as you step over the small river of water that runs around the perimeter of the temple. You can see its halls are filled with more than usual. Worshippers at various altars. A few wounded here and there that are being tended to in the various rooms or carried off or limping off. And then there's the stairs that lead above to where you were before.
I'll head towards those.
Okay. As you approach the stairs, there are another set of these vindicators, these guards for Eain, wearing a sort of silver chainmail, the wing-wreathed crest upon the chest, who kind of stand there and standing watch. You see two, one's a human and one's a half-elf, that greet you as you approach the stairs. Do you have business with the lioness?
Yes, I'm redeemed Vesper Fidelis. I studied here for a year. I know.
One tilts his head, but the half-elf, who you kind of recognize, never really had a long conversation with her, but you recognize her face. She puts her hand on his shoulder. And, she's all right. It's okay. And they step to the side and you up. She nodding to you as you go up. And Amson, are you following her?
I will ask Vesper as they step aside. Do you want me to come with you?
I don't think she's let go of his hand, so she'll nod.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Come on.
Amson will follow.
Okay. So you go up the stairs, circling around to where you see, eventually making it up to that room. There's one with the pool and the altar beside it. It's quiet. There's less in here. Less normal worshippers and more acolytes moving to and fro. Some supplies being built up in one corner. Some praying.
I will quietly just kind of lead the way through towards the altar where I was redeemed before.
You can make your way there.
Okay.
There's one currently worshiping at it on one side of it. It's a large enough altar where plenty or several could worship there at the same time. There's one dwarf that's currently praying on one side of it.
I need to actually look at the spells that I prepared. That would be helpful. But I will start to pray. And I've got something. I think all I have that can be helpful is divination. So I will cast that. And pray to Diether and say, Seraphar, I seek your wings to carry us into darkness and back out again into the light. How can I earn them?
And are you burning the incense as well?
Yeah.
Okay. While I'm reading the spell and thinking about the response, what does the spell look like when you do it? And it says incense, but also sacrificial offerings appropriate to religion. So what does the spell and offering look like?
I do think maybe I did stop to buy some incense, and again, I've pulled from my herbalism kit. I think maybe like a lightly used bandage, like so there is some of like my blood on it. Just things that represent like the sacrifice and the healing that we've gone through.
As the incense burns in the bandage, the little bit of blood on it sizzles and cracks as the smoke kind of wafts into the chamber. It fills the space around you to where you can see shapes and patterns in the smoke. It makes you feel dizzy. It's disorienting in ways. The footsteps of the acolytes, the murmured prayers that the worshippers speak, the sounds of the many worshippers below, downstairs, is doled out until you all can only hear the sound of your breathing in and out. until you hear a voice comes through like the flapping of wings, forming words. The heavens prepare for war. They argue amongst each other about the fracturing sky. Many trials await us, and for you. The betrayers will be forsaken, then those worthy will fly upon our wings. And about the spell, same question about an event coming within 7 days. You get a feeling of trepidation, almost nervousness, but also of anticipation of something coming. And that there will be both good and bad that comes in the next couple of days. It's very non-specific, just a feeling you get from these words.
Can I just repeat again? How can I earn your wings?
The flames of hellfire will bear their burning marks. And from those scalding burns, the wings will set you free. In defiance of the Six Souths, in defiance of Seether, in vision of the tower and of Armageddon. And with those last words, again sounding like words formed from the flapping of wings, the incense smoke begins to draw away and dissipate some.
Okay. I will look to Amson. Did you hear any of that?
Did I hear any of that?
You did not.
No.
I'll get up and head away from the praying dwarf so we can talk a little more freely and tell him what she said.
That's not very specific now, is it?
Either we have to go to hell or somehow the fire of it needs to burn me.
Maybe it's like one of those things that, shows up when you're in grave danger or something.
Maybe.
Well, do we have to go to hell or the abyss in order to get one of the things anyways?
I don't have that note right in front of me.
And it's been 3 weeks.
Yeah, it has.
It's the abyss. I know you guys would.
Okay.
Know. It's been a while. It's the abyss on the other side of the gates of hell, of Armageddon.
Maybe not.
So we walk through hell?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess either way, it's going to be quite the adventure.
The burning marks are what I'm stuck on.
Well, at least you can resist, heat rather well.
Maybe we should ask someone here who might know a bit better.
Someone who knows the stories a lot better than we do.
Unless I can make a religion check.
What are you trying to know?
Basically, is it literal? Do I have to burn myself with the fires of hell, or is it more of a metaphorical type thing?
I'll say you would have to maybe research in a temple library to find something that specific out, but you know enough to know that they're the stories of Diether, but not necessarily of other individuals using her wings. She might lend them or come help or intercede, but nothing like what the Tasha's visions are suggesting. So you're not sure. There may be, you would have to do research, but you're not sure if there's any resource that would be that specific.
Okay. I will look around for the other redeemed. I think her name was Olivia Newdon.
Yeah. You can look around. It doesn't take too long for you to find her. Blonde, blue-green light eyes, golden cloak. And she's pointing and directing as they carry crates and supplies into the temple.
Redeemed Olivia?
Yes. Vesper, was it?
It was.
Good to see you again. What can I do for you?
Well, we're back from our errand.
How did it go? Well, you're here.
Yeah, I think I just quietly look at Amson and then back to her. It went. I need some help. I'm trying to look up something about the wings of Seraphar Diether.
Yes, what about it?
Are they... Is there a way to attain them, I suppose, is the word I'm looking for? As like a physical sort of thing.
There have been stories of her lending them in the past. When followers are in great need, great peril, they are the fastest wings, and have flown through hell. She's a fighter. She's a servant of Ain, but she's a fighter, and calling upon her is something many, especially Vindicators, do. And there are stories that she's lent them in certain times. Times like the ones we live in. Is that what you're asking?
I think so. I think I have need of them.
Brave child. We all could use them.
Those who were lent them before, did they just call on her in their hour of need, or?
Most of the stories, yes. She came when they needed her most, but there are some of the stories that she was more actively involved, that they were developing a sort of relationship, so to speak. Apprentice, Knight, Vindicator, and Celestial.
Had she only ever come to the Vindicators, or the Redeemed as well?
I believe most of them were Vindicators, but some of the Vindicators were redeemed as well. I cannot judge or presume to know her will, but I get the feeling that it's based off necessity. She comes in the last moment, or she comes when she's needed. You've no doubt been in those positions when you're at your rope's end and have nothing left to give, and all there is to do is pray. And it is in those moments that Ain or Diether or others may come through. They must come through. I hope you'll stay. We're preparing for whatever war comes next. We could use a good surgeon.
I'm trying to prevent too much war. I'm going to be on a front line that is going to be hard to reach.
She nods, clearly not fully comprehending, but trying to understand. I hope this war can be avoided, but if a last stand is to be had, it will be made here. You've seen the influx of soldiers and pilgrimage. They come here seeking safety. You have to protect them.
But if this is the final place of the war, is it safe for pilgrims and civilians to be here?
Perhaps not, but many come from many, many miles away, and some don't even make it in to turn them back, or they're not sure what will be safe or not safe. Those of us who speak to the gods and their servants hear of their arguments in the heavens. However this ends, it will end ugly. But we'll do what we can here. We'll store supplies. We'll heal the sick and the wounded. And when we need to, we'll fight.
Do we know what Ayin wants from all of this? What she's arguing for?
Always peace, but some of the more boisterous types don't always listen.
Right. I just hope I don't disappoint her.
You won't. Have faith. And if you change your mind, we'll make sure you have a bed. And for your friend.
Thank you.
She nods, and at this moment, you see there's another individual, thin elf in robes, kind of who's been patiently waiting behind. Well, back to it.
Stay safe.
Same to you. And she turns and gets back to her work. So I think we're going to jump over to another and see what they're up to. But are you guys staying here, or are you guys heading back? Just give me an idea of where you are heading or doing.
Heading out of the temple, but I'm not ready to leave the district yet. I'll have something to do later on.
Okay, so you and Amson maybe hang in the temple for a little bit and in the district for a little while. Jumping over, who wants to go next?
I guess I could. I have a question, though, that will help me determine what I want to do first.
Okay.
So the gate that we came back through, I don't know if there's more than one gate, but wherever we entered the city, is the Temple of Ultimary closer, or is the place where we slept the night before closer?
To the gate you entered?
Yes.
The Ultimary district is maybe a little closer.
Okay. Is there much difference in the distance, or is it...
Not a huge difference to the front gate. Maybe 10 extra minutes walking.
Okay. So I think what I want to do is head back to where we stayed the night first and see if I can spot any sign of our raven friend.
Okay. Give me a perception check. And is it just Ellery?
Is Ball still with me at this point?
I wasn't sure if Ball and Felix were doing something or if Ball was, or what they were doing.
No, I'm supposed to be looking for a place to stay, so I would have left a while ago.
Okay.
So make a perception check for the raven.
That's a 19.
You look around, but you don't see it anywhere.
No sign of any ravens?
No ravens. Not right now. Not here.
So I think that I still have Felix's weird bottle friend. So
Felix?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I will think at Felix. Hey, have you seen any sign of that raven?
I mean, I haven't really been paying attention for it. Do you need it for something?
Well, I feel like we should probably try and stay on its good side.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever gonna like me.
Well, some of us can try to stay on its good side anyway.
I'll buy some bread for you to give it later.
You do remember what Blackstar said to us.
And you do remember that ultimately we are planning to kill her. So, I don't really care. It's going to happen sooner or later.
Better it be later.
Do you know where Ball went?
He went to go find a place for us to stay tonight.
Alright, well, I'll go keep an eye on him. If I see the raven, I'll let you know. And I'll try not to shut him out of the room again.
And I will try... Could you do me a favor and just ask Vesper to try and contact the raven if nobody sees it anytime in the next little while?
Will do.
Thank you.
I don't know if this is how that works, but I like the image of Ellery having to hold the bottle up to her mouth to speak through it.
That is creepy and weird, and I love it.
Just imagine its cold, weird, pink eyes staring blankly at you the entire time.
Yeah.
Oh, so gross.
So I will give one last quick glance around, and just kind of as I walk, try and keep an eye out for any ravens in case it might be ours, as I head over to Baltimore's temple.
Okay. So you're able to, looking around, you don't see anything, just keeping an eye out. You see lots of, again, more patrolling soldiers, much more crowded city than last time you were here. But can eventually make it to the temple with the large pyramidal dome of this strange galvanized stone, the open entrance large, and the swirling storm inside, the rain and thunder and periodic lightning coming from inside.
Well, I will walk in and take a deep breath, kind of just close my eyes for a second to feel this atmosphere. I miss this place. And I think I'm going to kind of... when I come in, there's that sort of mural or carving on the walls.
Yeah, on the walls there are those reliefs carved and burned by the lightning.
And there's the one that depicts Baltimore with the eye patch. And I'm just gonna take a moment to look up at that and just put my hand over my left eye and kind of just see how that feels, what the world looks like looking through one eye. And after just a few minutes of looking around like that, I'm going to sigh and go try and find people I know.
Okay. And you notice, again, the temple is filled more. There's even a few seemingly guards with javelins and scaled armor as you enter. Numerous look like maybe they were sailors or hunters. It's unclear inside the main temple. And beneath it, go downstairs, this kind of wide open chamber. On each side, there's these small trickling kind of waterfalls where it collects all the water that's coming from upstairs into these little basins, these wash basins. You can smell the salt in the air, and you see a number of people you recognize. Who are you looking for? Gath or Saras, Braun, Carrie, or Kari?
Gath or Saras would be top priority, I think.
Okay, they're both there. They're in separate areas, so whichever one you wanted to talk to.
I think I'll go to Saras first.
Okay. You can see as you approach, it looks like Gath and Braun and Carrie are talking to a number of other individuals who are kind of standing in a line, almost like listening to a lecture. He's kind of moving his hands around, pointing, and Saras is kind of next to one of the wash basins with one of her nicer javelins. Looks like she's maybe has been blessing it as you approach. Ellery, good to see you. She goes and hug you.
Good to see you too, I say. I hug her back.
As you pull away, you can see again the familiar face, the tan skin, dark hair, striking bone structure, and that light-scaled armor, the blue cloak, that seems to have the water just kind of drains naturally off of it. I'm glad you're back.
I'm glad to be back, though. I don't expect I'll be able to stay for very long.
As always, the mover.
Things are awfully tense here at the moment.
Well, the heavens opening up seems to do that to most folk. If more than ever you want to be salted and see the storm.
Yeah. I'm afraid I'm not going to help things be any less tense, I think.
Why is that?
Because, well, there's no point in trying to talk around this, so I'm just gonna get right to it. I think I need to face Ursatha.
She kind of sighs and looks down before meeting your eyes again and seeing your intensity, your purposefulness. We haven't had someone try in quite a long time, though we've had more volunteers than ever since the sky, but Gath is hesitant to send more down there. He's sent more ships down there than any other. We've never seen one come back.
I figured you'd probably say something like that. I should probably explain some of what's been going on lately. Because apparently all of this stuff that's going on, I'm involved in whether I want to be or not.
What do you mean, Ellery? The look of concern on her face.
Maybe we should sit down.
Right. She brings you aside into one of the side rooms. It's a little quieter. Less worshippers.
And I think I'm going to just very plainly, without any embellishments, lay out for her everything that has happened since the last time I was here at the temple.
Since the beginning of time. So covering going into the Shadowfell and the details of what y'all found out as far as Harbingers, like how detailed are you getting?
I'm not going to get into all of the nitty-gritty details, but I'm not going to leave out anything. Like, I'm going to basically be open about pretty much all of it.
Including y'all's plan is to bring down the Divine Gate?
Now that is a good question. What I'm going to tell her, and this is the truth, is that we've been told that that is what we will have to do, but I don't entirely trust that information.
As you kind of finish telling her all this, she at this point looks very concerned and almost a little nervous. Ellery, this is a lot. You're right not to trust whoever told you that. It could spark this war, building in the heavens and here. It could mean the end of everything. If the storm spoke to you, and you have to face the trial of Ursatha, that is one thing, but the gate is another. Do you understand?
I do. I don't... If there's any way of doing this without bringing down the Divine Gate, I am all for it.
Voltamera gave her eye, and she starts kind of looking, not at you, but at the ground, contemplative, eyes darting, mind racing. Voltamera gave her eye for knowledge of the planes and how to traverse them. And from that came Ursatha. He is as much a curse as he is a challenge for the worthy. And the knowledge he represents, the challenge he represents. If you were to face this trial, and Voltamera found you worthy, and you succeeded, then you might find the knowledge you seek, the guidance you seek. And if you're misguided or misinformed, then in the deep you will drown, but awake in Voltamera's storm. Perhaps this test is what it is for, to judge for us what we cannot know.
Perhaps it is.
Well, if you're serious about it, we can arrange a boat, a ship.
I am serious about it. I'm not sure if my friends might want to pursue other things first, but I have the feeling this might be something we need to do very soon.
The few ships Gathers send, he's forced them to train, especially those with little boating or shipping experience. But perhaps in these times he could be convinced to expedite that.
I hope so, because we don't have a lot of time for training.
I'll work on him to open up the idea to it. And if you and your friends decide you're ready, then we can go from there. We can at least get you captained and get you salt blessed.
Thank you, Saras.
These trials might mean everything, Ellery.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't entirely feel ready, but I've never really felt ready for anything. So I'm not sure that feeling ready is a very good indication of whether or not I am.
Sometimes we must take the leap, but for now, talk to your friends. I'll talk to Gath and see if we can't get a ship ready for you.
And I'll take her hands. Thank you.
Of course, and friend to friend, Ellery, be careful who you speak those words to. These times are tense, and folks like the Vanguards may not be so open-minded.
Yeah.
Ellery, I'm serious.
I know you're serious.
Someone was executed a week ago for their dreams and visions and their mad ramblings, and they aren't the first and they won't be the last by the end of this. Don't be one of them.
Fuck. Okay.
Talk to your friends. You know where to find me.
Okay, I will talk to them and I'll be back once we know what we're doing.
Okay. And then, Ball, Felix, we all meeting up? Or did y'all have anything you wanted to do?
Ball was just supposed to find a place to stay, so we don't have to RP that out unless you specifically wanted to.
Yeah, and Felix was just going to go there and wait with Ball for the rest of them.
Okay. There's the place y'all stayed most of the time last time. Y'all could stay in that same place to keep it easy, or otherwise you can give me, if you don't like that, you can give me some idea of what you're looking for, but otherwise you could stay at that same place. I can't remember if it was Public House at World's Inn or Wary Traveler Inn, but they're across the street from each other.
As long as it has a door, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, they both have doors.
I picked the one that only has one door, because that's what Felix wants.
Okay.
He will sigh heavily upon arrival. Thank you, Ball, for carrying out my instructions.
I don't know when everyone else will arrive.
Well, they're off doing their holy thing. I'm sure that'll take far too long. Braun guy was not incredibly helpful, was he?
No, I don't like him.
Well, research went all right. I found out more information about a few of the items. Looks like either this aberrant dream or possibly whatever Ellery's tracking down is probably going to be the easiest. Unless Vesper's God's just going to give her the wings, but when does anything ever work like that?
In the meantime, I guess we will have to wait for everyone to come back, decide what we'll do next.
What do you want to do, Ball?
Ball pulls out his strip poker package. Which outfit would you like me to wear? Ball says, since we might have some time to waste, or do you think that you can check where my memories went again.
The ones that were missing?
All nods.
I'm not really sure if it would have any effect, but I can try. They were the magic I use in probing like that. It wasn't like the memories were hidden; they were gone. I'm not sure if I can follow it, but I can try if you want.
You think it would be worth a try? And the ball kind of stops, and he just kind of asks. Maybe it's a little far-fetched. The ball asks, I don't know if this is possible, but no, never mind. Could you check my memories?
I'll try. And I will once again cast Detect Thoughts and try and find Ball's lost memories.
Okay. And Ball, are you resisting or just letting him in?
I asked him to help so I could deliberately resist it.
Oh, boy. Okay. I figured.
And then I look at Felix and say, guess you're not that strong, are you? No, so I don't resist. I let it happen.
Okay. So Felix pushing into the mind once more, using what you've learned with creating kind of a mind palace, visualizing it as a physical place, as a way to comprehend and understand the memories, so that they're not everywhere at once, but almost a linear, something you can follow. Make an investigation check to search again.
Okie dokie. That is, I'll go ahead and use another flash of genius to get +5, so that makes it a 26.
Good Lord. Okay. I'm going to try something a little different with this. So you search through the memories, and the more recent ones, the ones from 5 minutes ago, are crisp, clear, easy to find. As you go back in time, they get more blurry and tattered and deteriorated, and you have to sort them out and put them back together. With the 26, you eventually kind of find the first inn, the one you found earlier, on the snow-covered mountain peak that trails off into just void black with the trailing ribbons of red crimson light. With the 26, you search and you search and you search, and finally find the other inn. This one, an image of Ball in the forest. And again, the image right at the edge of a void where it trails off into crimson red ribbons. Nothing in between. So you find that. You also notice that the expanse between those memories is extensive. It's maybe equivalent to years. It's hard to say. These things are always murky, but it looks like something equivalent to multiple years, and yet the image of Ball before and the image of Ball after look very similar. Like he's the same age or about the same age. And yet there's a mass of memories in between that you can't find. Now, what I want to do that's different is let you ask follow-up questions. So because you rolled a 26, 3 kind of follow-up questions that maybe make it feel more like an investigation. So that's kind of your base knowledge. What do you want to ask from here?
So it's a clear void of memory. There's no, pockets of it that are... It's not like something specific was tried to be erased and Ball can, put the pieces back together. He just lost that time entirely.
Correct. Yeah, it seems like that. Everything between those memories, before and after, it's gone. Or everything in between.
Yeah. And anything I find before, do I get an image of his mother?
Searching back, the older memories, as you noticed, are more deteriorated and blurry because they're based off what Ball saw and heard and felt and noticed and remembered. And so if he didn't notice, for example, someone sneaking up on him, it doesn't mean they weren't there, that you just didn't see them. And that far back, everything's blurry, everything's murky, as you would expect any child to be. You can catch a little bit of a woman. It's very blurry, but she has distinctly pointed ears, these golden cat eyes that glow slightly, features sharp and elongated, sharp nose, cheekbones high, elongated chin, not in a beautiful way, but a strange alien way. Her eyes are too big, her fingers too long, and yet she's beautiful, what you can make out. You see her only in the very beginning. The very blurry memories when Paul was a very recent baby, a newborn.
All right. And then just before I leave, I'm going to go back to the edge of the hole again, and the crimson strands. I'm going to think very... I actually don't want to think about her in this place because it'll summon her, but twice now I've seen that Crimson Harbinger stab me. Is the Crimson match?
So one more piece from the first question, just to clarify a little bit. It looks like the chunk was removed. It didn't look like it deteriorated to nothing. It was removed. There's no pockets, nothing remaining.
Yeah.
But with this, thinking about Nersine and Walker, his force field, the other images you've had, the color is very similar. And it's just color, could mean anything but the color, and the light is very similar.
All right, I'll come out. All right, Paul. Well, unfortunately, I can't get back your memories. They've been extracted. But I have reason to believe your mother is likely Fey, and a good portion of the time you have forgotten you were there. It's too long of a time for you to be as young as you appear, some kind of time dilation. Plus, I got an image of your mother, and her features are similar to mine, but I've spent time in the Feywild. I know the distinction. So, I'm not sure if it was your mother that removed the memories, or there is some evidence to suggest a Crimson Harbinger may have had something to do with it.
So you mean I am older than I am?
I think you have spent more time in these realms than you would ever know. You've forgotten it, or not even forgotten. It's been stolen from you. Though, that is sometimes something that can happen when exiting the Feywild entirely. It may not have been maliciously taken. You may have been taken there, and when you got out, you forgot everything.
And if it was a Crimson Harbinger, what does that mean, Felix?
It likely means that the Harbinger that you bear is Crimson. It would make sense. That was the one that you were the one hidden from Black Star when you died. It's not so much of a stretch.
I don't understand these prophecies well. Am I somehow going to be on the other side of the battlefield?
No. Actually, given what we want right now, technically you're the only one whose Harbinger wants what we want. So, up to a certain point, it's once it happens that all of the Harbingers are the problem. I do worry that Nersine will have some stronger ability to influence you if you are Crimson. It's just something to be wary of. But as of now, the Silver Harbingers waking up too early and trying to stop us is probably the worst thing that could happen. Whereas if you wake up, or yours wakes up, then, well, it may help.
I can't remember if last time when we played, if Ball had explained to you or told you anything about what happened with his Curious George visitor. Or if when I asked if you could do some research, because I remember I asked if you could do some research. I just can't remember if it included anything about this Curious George fellow.
I don't think it was him. I think you mainly asked about your mom.
Right. Okay. Did I tell you what had happened though, or did I keep that to myself?
I don't remember, to be honest. Okay. It's been a while.
Right. Okay. Well, I think Ball would bring it up anyway, and he'd say, in my dreams, I've been visited by, well, I was made to visit. And then, like, Ball's can't figure out exactly the words, and he's just like, all I remember is waking up seated at a table outside in a forest. And a member of the Feywild wanted me to do things for him, and if I did so, he would do things for me.
Well, this is very important. Have you made a deal, an agreement, with anyone from Fairy?
Ball says, not yet, but he says that he can get me in contact with my mother.
The only thing that gives me pause, and, well, making deals with fey creatures gives me pause. Do not do that lightly. But what gives me pause about this pursuit of your mother is the same time dilation that happens when exiting the Feywild. With how strict a schedule we are on, if we come out too late, we may miss the end of the world. Be too late to stop anything. I have learned that you all are going to do whatever you're going to do, so if I may just ask if your friend can assure the time lost would be minimal, if ideally no time lost, should we pursue anything in his domain. I know my people have ways to come back when they want. At least the city can. That's why they're waiting out this war. Surprise. But if there's time, I'll support this. But if there's not, Ball, just let me know what you need.
Okay. Thank you, Felix. If we want to get something, I'm going to get us something to eat. We must be hungry, and everyone else will arrive soon. It'd be nice to not have to eat rations.
That sounds lovely. I'm going to get us cake.
I'll get a Big Mac.
Okay, and as you guys go on your new quest for a Big Mac and cake, you guys are, as you're going about your respective business, each of you hears a voice in your mind. I've arrived on the plane. I will be there a few hours before nightfall. I'll contact you again when I'm close. And you all know this voice to be who one of you spoke to the other day, Amethystus.
Felix will just look at Ball. Is that what it's like when I do that? It's really jarring for the voice to just appear out of nowhere.
Yes, I don't like it at all. I'm going to find a Big Mac and forget about this.
Hashtag not sponsored by Burger King. Wait, is that Burger?
Clearly not.
Shit. Oh, dang. Well, you know.
Also,
yes,
not sponsored
we
by
have
Burger
no
King.
sponsors. We're poor. Please sponsor us.
Please, I need Big Mac. I need to know what a Big Mac is. So, oh, that'd be great. Amazing. As you guys are you guys doing anything else before you kind of reconvene, waiting for Amethystus to arrive? Or do you guys meet up in the Weary Traveler Inn?
I'm heading back, but I thought Vesper had something she needed to do.
Yeah. I would like to cast Sending to Braun as we're leaving the temple. you and I had a deal, a blessing in exchange for help. I've gotten away, I can come alone. Can we close this deal?
Things are complicated now, but I would very much still like a blessing. If I can give you some of your gear in exchange. That deal I can honor.
Cast it again, I guess. Where shall we meet then? We'll have to be quick. And I want the ring. And whatever else you can bring us.
Tell me where you are and I will find you tonight.
I think Vesper openly rolls her eyes. What's about is my last spell. I will, actually I'm gonna contact, I don't know, I can't contact Felix anymore, can I?
You have the dagger.
Oh, I do, yes, good, lovely. I will contact Felix and ask where we are staying tonight.
The Weary Traveler.
I will cast sending to Braun and let him know we are staying at the Weary Traveler.
Alright, I will find you tonight.
Perfect. And turn to Amson and fill him in.
And if you want me around, when you go to do this, if you want me around, you just let me know. I'll try to hide as best I can.
I don't know how I want to play it yet. It'd be a perfect opportunity for an ambush, but I think he'd know that. I may just have to do it fair and square.
Probably. Well, we've got time. We can figure it out.
Let's go back.
So you guys make your way back, enter into the Where Traveler Inn. Across the street is the more rambunctious public house. But inside the Traveler Inn, you find a number of travelers, pilgrims, but you also see the enormous ball and Felix eating. Felix, the best they could manage was like a fruitcake. It's a little too hard. It's not bad, but it's very cold and it's very solid.
He doesn't eat the fruitcake. He will look at it in disgust and say, "Oh, we should just let the world end." And he'll get more wine. That's what he'll be doing.
And Ball, after a lengthy discussion with a dwarvish cook, I hear what you're saying, but we don't have any large, big Mac. You eventually get yourself a hamburger, and I don't know what a Big Mac is, so it's close enough, I guess.
I don't understand. I wanted a big macaroni and cheese. What is this?
There's cheese on the hamburger. God, you're dense.
And before he storms off angrily, cheeks flushed.
Paul's just angrily eating his burger, saying, "I miss my rations."
Does Ball hate that it's good?
No comment.
It's good. God damn it.
I'll take no further questions.
Felix will lean over to Ball as he's pouring more wine. You want me to leave a fart rock in the kitchen?
I saw nothing. And then Ball winks at you.
Oh, God. Okay. So I guess as you're discussing fart rocks, that's when Ellery and Vesper and Amson eventually find their way to the Traveler's Inn. You guys meet back up.
God, it's weird how much coming back here feels like coming home.
I didn't spend much time here, so I wouldn't know.
Well, did going back to your temple feel like going home?
A bit. I should have stopped by the hospital.
So, I feel like we need to have a nice, long, private talk. I've been warned that we need to be very careful about what we say. And to whom.
We can go into the orb if you'd like. Pino can watch it while we're outside. Or inside. I've had a couple glasses already.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Well, we got us a couple rooms, so I'll just go in one and Tina will let me know if anything's wrong.
That thing's weird.
So are you.
Good point. Good point.
I think it's kind of cute, actually. In an
It's
odd way.
It turns
not
very slowly and looks at you
cute.
with its unblinking eyes.
That is not cute.
It's a bit cute.
No.
So do y'all get into the orb?
I think we go up to whatever room we're staying in first.
Yeah. Okay. So you go into the room. It's very simple bunk beds, nothing to write home about, but it is clean at least. One of the rooms y'all got has a few bunk beds, so it can fit a few people, very squeezed with all of you in there, but you can't enter into the orb. With Pino left outside watching the orb. So you guys enter into the sphere, the shattered remains of the base of the statue that Ball broke up a long time ago, the still dark red stones on the floor, the runes scratched out. As you've sort of tried to make this place more homey than it was originally.
So, have any of you seen our raven friend?
Can Ball do divine sense? And does that help him sense the presence of the raven?
In the orb?
Never mind.
No, you can.
I thought it was maybe right before we went in the orb.
You could do it before.
I wouldn't have done it
your
unless Ellery had said something beforehand. I just didn't clue in that we were already in the orb.
I mean, I think I probably would have asked that before we went in.
Well, if you would have, then Ball could try divine sense and see if he. I would guess maybe this raven is some kind of undead. Maybe Ball would be able to sense its presence.
And it's 60 feet, right?
Yeah, and I'll find out if you need anything besides undead. I will check what else it is. It is celestial, fiend, or undead, and within 60 feet of you that is not behind total cover.
You do get a vague sense of celestial, as well as, did you say fiend?
Yes,
you get a vague sense of fiend as well.
Okay. It doesn't tell me where they are, right? It just says I feel a presence.
Playing a little loose with the rules, because they may technically be behind cover, but I don't want the ability to suck. So you sense those two things. One, the celestial is towards the outside, towards the window and outside, and then the fiend is downstairs.
Then Ball would communicate that if the bird is celestial. Would people say things are celestial? Like, it just sounds kind of strange to say, but Paul will say, if there is some sort of higher being outside the window and something fiend-like down below, I don't think the bird would be down below.
Why would there be a fiend thing down below?
Probably not for any good reason.
Unless it's a tiefling? I say as I reach over and pull Felix's cup down from his mouth because I heard how badly he slurred.
I mean, have you felt tieflings using this before? Actually, come to think of it, when I used it at the Odysseus Harbor back in Embershore, did I sense anything from Stormdreamer? I guess it wasn't divine sense, it was detect evil and good.
No.
I don't think it would be a tiefling.
I'll say in general, y'all can sometimes get a feeling, but it's vague and depending on lineage and a lot of other factors. So it could be, it could not be.
Can I then I assume we got to the room, we did this, so go down to the common area and cast detect magic and see if someone's glowing with an obvious I'm an illusion thing?
Yes. So you go downstairs, detect, You notice a couple of things behind the counter, as well as a flask on the bartender's belt. You notice a cloak hanging up on the wall. You notice a number of dull blips that are like holy symbols or arcane focuses, maybe. But no illusions are detected by this. There's maybe 10 or 12 different blips you get. Most of them seem to be necklaces and holy symbols around people's necks.
And just scanning around the crowd as I'm doing this, nobody is paying particular attention to me?
You can make an insight check.
Garbage at those. 9.
No one seemed to even notice you walk downstairs. The bartender kind of looks up at you and nods, waiting for an order, but other than that.
Maybe, Felix, as you were trying to see if anyone had really noticed you, Ball, seeing you being concerned about this idea of a fiend down below, comes down to kind of help you rescope the place out. And maybe just as you're trying to catch anyone's glance, you just, Ball comes up behind you and is like, if you want, I can check again. And in that moment, it kind of distracts you and miss any opening if someone was watching.
Yeah, if you can use it to figure out who it is, I don't know. Holy City, fiend lurking in a bar seems not great given circumstances.
So, Ball nods at Felix and says, I'm going to get another bottle for the room. And then he kind of walks towards the bartender to order a bottle of wine, kind of just to take up to the room. And as he's kind of waiting for his bottle of wine, then he wants to use his divine sense again and try to hone in on that feeling of a fiend and where it might more specifically be coming from.
Yeah. And you can still sense the vague sense of some sort of higher being upstairs towards the room where you were in. But downstairs, you can now sense that blip of fiendish energy. And is coming from, well, not the person themselves, but something near the person, around the person. You see a bearded man, dirty clothes, but looks like he's with 2 children and maybe his wife, you're not sure, sitting at a table, and they're all hungrily eating down soup and drinks, but they haven't eaten in a while.
So kind of like just a fiendish glow around the man, but
it's like something on them.
Right, okay. I think I see where you're going with it. I don't know if Ball would necessarily want to do something about that. I mean, kind of, but it could also be a huge can of worms. I think Ball will kind of look at Felix, try to make eye contact, and then try to do that thing where he looks, points with his eyes and indicates who it is. And when Felix is looking in that general direction, then he'll come back up to Felix and kind of say, I don't think there's anyone fiendish, but that man and his family. I think he may have some sort of item or belonging that is a little less than pure.
Alright, well, probably shouldn't get involved and start a scene. It may be nothing and we have no proof. Just keep an eye out for him, especially if we leave and if he follows.
Ball nods. And maybe he does that. Does a really bad job of it, but as we go back upstairs, Ball goes upstairs and then quickly just when he's out of sight, he quickly takes a few steps back down and peeks out and sees if the man is making eye contact with him all of a sudden.
The family seems to be just hungrily eating, and no one else seems to notice you, except for those who turn hearing the stomping of a half-giant.
So after that awkward scene, Ball goes back up with his bottle.
Okay, so back in the room. Do you guys enter into the sphere at this point, or?
Yeah, that's...
Okay. So now you enter into the into the sphere, being watched by Pino.
Ball, do you feel anything in here? Like we've been followed?
When I was downstairs, it felt like this higher being was still outside. I could try again. And I think this time Ball will get kind of closer to the window before he does it. For the third time.
I was more feeling...
We're in the sphere now.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, sure. Then he does it in the sphere.
No higher being this time. You get a general, bad sense. The sense of foul sulfur in this whole sphere, but nothing, specific. Bad Jujumanji.
All I feel here is a bad Jujumanji. Otherwise, I don't think we were followed.
I really do think that we ought to try and fill the Raven in on a few things.
Why?
Because of... Look, Felix, I know that you've made up your mind, but A, I'm not convinced that Mr. Walker was, or whatever it was of Mr. Walker that you talked to, had totally accurate information necessarily. We don't really quite understand his motives for sure. And I don't think we should go into this all gung-ho for taking down the Divine Gate unless we are absolutely sure that it's necessary. Even if it is necessary, it would be good to keep Blackstar on our side for as long as possible.
Fine, do whatever you want. I just don't foresee her being that useful and don't want to waste time. Direct help from the gods doesn't really happen unless we're in their realm.
I'm less worried about her being useful or not, and I'm more worried about what happens if one of us goes down in a fight. If she still likes us, then she'll send that person back. If she doesn't like us, then that's it.
Certainly save us a lot of money on diamonds if she likes us.
Well, what did we learn that the Raven would even care about? Do we have a direction? Did you all figure anything out?
Well, one thing that you should all be aware of, I was told that somebody got executed recently for having dreams or visions or something like that. So we need to be very careful about who we talk to and how much we tell. And a friend of mine in the temple is going to try and get us permission, I guess, and a ship to go face Ursatha.
Alright, well, I tracked down a lead on a teleportation circle to Domheim. That seems like the best route to get to the aberrant dream. Don't have my notes in front of me. I think those two are our closest, and given what I researched, at least the aberrant dream may provide some means of transportation, if I'm understanding correctly. But if we can travel through the storm, it may make sense to go do that one first, as we can get right back here. Hopefully Amethystus will have some more answers for us so we can figure out what to do next.
Yeah.
Should we meet her outside of the city? Would it be bad for her to come here?
That's a good question.
I mean, probably if she's going to be a dragon. It might cause a bit of alarm.
Well, you all spent a year here. Anywhere out of the city, but close enough where we could get to it by the time she gets here?
I mean, the only place that I ever really went to outside of the city was the Vivistry. Not sure that's a great place to be meeting a dragon.
Maybe we can meet her halfway between here and the Vivistry or something like that. There wasn't really a whole lot out there between those two places.
True.
Unless, of course, the army is in that direction, in which case we probably shouldn't be there.
I'm guessing that direwolf we saw is probably connected to the army.
Most likely.
So maybe we shouldn't go that direction.
Well, why don't we just walk back in the direction that the Raven Queen deposited, or Black Star deposited us? It was remote enough.
That's exactly the direction I just said maybe we shouldn't go since we saw a dire wolf along the way.
Oh, right. Well, I don't know. There's not much we can do to avoid the war at this point. I just don't want to bring a dragon into town, so let's just get out of town.
I'm sure she can find us once we find a place secluded enough.
Klaus, am I remembering correctly? The other side of the city, we'd go out into the mountains.
You'd have to go pretty far. So, Nymunet, the ancient city, is on a plateau, and almost a perfect one. It rises up sheer cliffs, forming a roughly circular, flat plateau. So you could go off the plateau several miles and eventually reach the mountains to the north. There is one spire to the northeast of the plateau that rises up that's associated with Akashan.
So it wouldn't be viable to just be like, let's just take another gate.
But not if you want to go to the mountains, but you could potentially go out of town if you wanted to.
Right, I'm just, basically out of town in the opposite direction.
Sure, yeah, that's reasonable. There's a north gate.
I will suggest we just start walking out the north gate until she shows up.
Maybe it's an appropriate direction to go if we're gonna end up near that spire.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. You guys exit the sphere, willing yourself out of the flaming, burning entryway and back into the room. As your eyes all clarify and you look around to this room, after exiting the sphere, Pinot kind of floating or resting nearby, you're squeezed into this room and there's someone sitting on the bed. An older woman, dark complexion, freckles, grayed hair, nearly white, curly, bounding back to her shoulders. Wearing simple clothes of maybe a servant or clean but unnoticeable. Who smirks a bit.
Felix is just going to look at Pino. I know I created you yesterday and you're a little new to this, but when I say, give me a heads up if anyone comes in, this is someone coming in, Pino.
Its beady dead eyes gonna look down shamefully.
We'll work on it.
And as you all turn back to face the stranger, that's where we'll go ahead and take a break. We'll pick back up. I forgot about Pino.
It's okay. I don't think he can actually talk or do anything, so I don't know that he actually has a way to warn me of anything.
He's just pointing madly.
Tapping the sphere.
Clapping, yeah.
Oh, I don't want quite a Sotha relationship but I don't know. He's just so Christ.
He's a baby.
It's a creature. It is an object. It is an animated object. Do not get attached to it because I will break it.
Next time on Back to the Story.
Can they affect Eternals?
Yes, they should be able to, if they can be wielded. It is likely that in some manners they are already awake, that their presence in some way allows you to do what you can do. Your strength or your ease of picking up magic or skills or weaponry, all ripple in memory of that harbinger's past life.
This episode is continued in Part 2, which uploads Friday and will be available wherever you're listening now. For behind the scenes and more, check out our Tumblr, back-to-the-story at tumblr.com, and follow us on Twitter for updates at back2_the-story. And if you're feeling especially generous, feel free to buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/backtothestory. We'll see you next time in Northville.